Okay, so continuing with, well, first, good morning and good luck on all your tests today. We have one more day to the algebra regions tomorrow afternoon. Remember, if you have a calculator, if you can borrow a graphing calculator, please borrow one and bring it to the test. Make sure that everyone has one. Okay, if you have your own, make sure it's charged and ready to go tomorrow. And make sure to bring pens and pencils and a straight edge in case you have to draw a graph. All right, so we've been working on June 2022, and we're on part 2. So 25, the first thing you have to do is check to see whether or not 1024, I'm looking for a calculator here, if 1024, square root of 1024 is a rational number. So we put in our calculator, right, the square root of 1024 is equal to, so you do second, x squared, 1024, and you hit enter, and this is 32, so this is rational. And negative 3.4 is a rational number, right, because it's a terminating decimal. Okay, and then you have to say the product of those two numbers is going to be rational. So we can say the product is rational. If you multiply 32 times negative 3.4, you get negative 108.1, which is rational. The product is rational because the product of two rational numbers is always rational. Okay, and that'll get you 2 points. Let's go down to 26. Okay, they're looking for the transformations, right? So from the x, from f of x is equal to 2. So, you know, f of x equals square root of 2 is like this. Right? Actually, it's right there at the joint, at the 0, 0. And this one is shifted. Okay, so x minus 3 squared means shift right, because it's opposite in the x direction. A shift right 3 units. Okay, and the negative 4 means a shift down 4 units. Okay, so you can just write those two things and you would get full credit. But I'm just going to show you on this, so on the little graph that I did. So the new parabola would start over 1, 2, 3, and down 1, 2, 3, 4. So it'd be the same parabola, but it's just drawn here. Okay, so that's the shift. Shift right 3 and down 4 units. So we have a graph here. The profits of a garage sale during the first 5 hours is modeled. So you can see they make money going up to 2, and then they make a little less, and then they make a little more because it's steeper. So what the steeper slopes mean more money. We could see between 3 and 4 they didn't make any money, and then they made a little money from 4 to 5. So they want to know, determine the average rate of change in dollars per hour from the interval 1 to 4. Okay, so the points we're looking at is one is this point right here, which is 1 comma 40. And the 4 hour mark is right here, 4 comma 100. Okay, so the rate of change is y1, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So we're going to call this one x1, y1. This point up here is x2, y2. So we just plug them in. So we have 100 minus 40 over 4 minus 1, which is equal to 60 over 3, which is $20 per hour. Okay, nice easy one, just a slope formula. Number 28. 28, subtract this expression from this expression. Okay, so first thing let's do is this expression is going to go first in our equation. So 6 times x squared minus xy, right? Because we're going to subtract 3x times x minus 2y from this. So this is minus 3x times x minus 2y. Okay, so that's how you write it. Now we're going to use the distributive property. Okay, so we have 6 times x is 6x squared minus 6 times xy is minus 6xy. Now when we subtract, we're going to distribute a negative. So this one becomes negative 3x squared. And then this one, a negative 3x times negative 2y, is a positive 6y. Okay? And then we're going to combine our like terms. So we have 6x squared and minus 3x squared becomes 6x squared. And negative 6y, negative 6xy and positive, I've got the xy in here, is 0. So this is the final answer. All right. Here's a parabola, right? And they want to know, they want to state the domain, a function on the graph, state the domain. So the domain is the x values, and the x values are going to go, you could state it as greater than or equal to negative infinity. They don't tell you which way to do it, and less than or equal to positive infinity. So you can write it like that. You can write it in interval notation. Or you could have just wrote all real numbers. All right, for the range, we have to get this point here, this turning point, which is 1, 2, comma, 1, 2, 3. Right, so this is the point 2, 3. So to state the range is going to be y greater than or equal to 3. Okay, you could write it like that. If you wanted interval notation, it would look like this, 3 comma all the way to positive infinity. All right, let's make this a little bigger and go on. Number 30, solve algebraically. Now, my suggestion to you is when you see this 6 in front, it's hard to factor, right? You have to use AC. But you have on your reference table the quadratic formula, right? So the quadratic formula is x is equal to negative b plus or minus the square root of 4ac. Holy smokes, hold on. Jumped the gun. The square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a, right? So check your table, right? If they were looking for solve algebraically, you can use the quadratic formula if you don't know how to factor it. That goes for anything. So now we know a is equal to 6, b is equal to 5, and c is equal to negative 6. So let's plug those numbers in. So I have negative 5 plus or minus the square root of b squared, which is 5 squared, minus 4 times 6 times negative 6. Okay, so you take your calculator, right? 5 squared is 25. And then you do negative 4. Don't forget the negative for the first one. You're going to have negative times a negative, so it's going to be a positive. Negative 4 times 6 times negative 6 is plus 144. All over 2 times 6, right? All right, so if we do this, we end up with x is equal to negative 5 plus or minus the square root of, let's see, 25 plus 144 is 169 all over 12. Now it's nice because 169 is a perfect square. So we can replace 169 with negative 5 plus or minus 13 over 12. So we have to do this twice. First we're going to do the positive case. X is equal to negative 5 plus 13 over 12, right? Negative 5 plus 13 is 8 over 12. And you can reduce that to 2/3. And then we're going to do the negative root. Negative 5 minus 13 over 12. This becomes negative 18 over 12. And you can leave it as an improper fraction. Just reduce it as negative 3/2. And you have your calculators to help you reduce those. All right. So remember, if you see a number in front of the x squared, you know it's not 1. It's really difficult to factor. And they're looking for the exact values. So I would use the quadratic formula. All right, the next one, express completely. So we've talked about these. You usually have to factor twice. So this is the difference between two squares. Even exponents of squares are perfect squares, and 36 is a perfect square. So this factors into two binomials, a positive and a negative. So x to the 4th goes to x squared, because x squared times x squared, you add the exponents, it's 4. The square root of 36 is 6, and the square root of x squared is x. Right, so this is minus 6x and plus 6x and minus 6x. Okay, now when you get here, we have to do it, we can factor both of these with a common factor. So I can take out an x here, and I have x plus 6, and I have an x, and I have an x here, times x minus 6. So I can multiply the x's times x, x plus 6, x minus 6. So you have x squared times x plus 6, x minus 6. All right. Now, you also could have taken the x squared out first, right? So you could have done it this way, or you could have taken this a method where you take x squared out, and then you would have had x squared minus 36. So it'll skip a step for you. X squared, and this is x minus 6 and x plus 6, and you'd be done right there. Okay, so two ways to do it. If you forget to factor out a common factor, then you'd have to keep going and factor again. Factor some more. All right. Determine the exact value by completing the square. Okay, so you notice we've had a lot of these on the region. So it's plus a number, right? And that goes in parentheses. And then it's minus 5 minus that same number outside is equal to 0. And we get that number by using 8. 8 divided by 2, the b term squared, which is 4 is 16. So we're going to add 16 and we're going to subtract 16. Okay, so this factors to x squared minus 4 minus 21 is equal to 0. Okay, and then I'm going to move the 21 over. So I'm going to add 21 to both sides. So I get x squared minus 4. I'm sorry, that's not x squared. That's x. Right? The square goes on the outside. X goes out here. The x goes out here. This is equal to 21. All right, and now we can take the square root of both sides. So now I have x minus 4. When we take the square root, we have a plus and negative root, square root of 21. All right, then we're going to add 4 to both sides. And we get x is equal to 4 plus or minus square root of 21. And the factors of 21 are 3 and 7, so you can't simplify that. So that's our answer. Okay. Let's stop there, and later on I'll make a video of part 3 and 4. All right. So I'll make one more video for you. Bye.